guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. I hope everyone's having a great day today, but if not, hopefully we can change that by the end of this video. So for today's video, I'm going to be sharing a bunch of different drugstore dupes for higher end makeup products, and on this side of my face, I have the more expensive products. On this side, I have the more affordable products, and I know I'm biased because I selected these products myself, but I truly feel like you can't tell a difference between the sides. I mean, come on, you can't, can you? You can't. And I wanted to challenge myself to find dupes for products that are well-loved, kind of fan favorite type products, so I did not play it safe. I have dupes for things like the Tarte Hydroflex Serum Foundation, Benefit Hoola Bronzer, the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder, what else? Tatcha the Silk Powder, Fenty Gloss Bomb, Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Lipstick, plus even more than that. So if you have been trying to find dupes for some of those products, again, plus more, you've come to the right spot. We're gonna jump right into that. Before we do, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, click on that notification bell, and drop a comment below letting me know if there's a drugstore dupe for a higher end product that you think that we all need to try. Let's share the love. I would definitely love to test out more. Thanks so much for doing all of those things. It really helps to support me with the YouTube algorithm. Everything that you could possibly need from me will be listed in my description box below, including Lightroom preset filters for editing your Instagram photos, merch, my social media account handles, discount codes, links, and timestamps. My voice just went out. Okay, let's jump into it. All right, let's start off with complexion first. So like I said, I really wanted to find a dupe for the Tarte Hydroflex Serum Foundation. This is a relatively new launch and something that I basically immediately fell in love with because it is so lightweight, but doesn't look super heavy and makeup-y. So this formula is very liquidy and runny. As you blend it into the skin, it basically feels traceless. You get really nice medium coverage at first. You can build this up though to be fuller coverage if you would like to. I typically need about 2 applications of product in order to do that, and then you get a really beautiful natural finish to the skin, which is another reason why I love this product, because so many of these lighter weight serum-y natural products end up looking really shiny on my skin to the point of looking greasy throughout the day, and that just is something that I'm not going for. So for reference throughout this video, I have combo skin that leans oily, keep that in mind, but yeah, I don't like the excessive shine to the point of looking like I need to napkin my face, you know? So this retails for $39, and the dupe that I found for it is $14.99. It's also a newer launch and also something that I pretty much fell in love with right away. It's the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. So when I was first thinking about these two products and how they compare, I wasn't really anticipating that they would be dupes because I felt like at first this formula was quite a bit thicker. But as I played around with this more, I mean, you guys can see how messy this is. I realized I think that's pretty much only because of the packaging. So it has this dropper here, which product is obviously going to cling to naturally, and then when I try to close it, it gets really messy if I'm not careful and product just spills over, which I feel like makes me think that this is a thicker, gloppier product than it actually is, because when I start to blend it into my skin, yes, it does feel a little bit thicker and more wet than the Tarte formula, but it still feels incredibly lightweight. And once I have them both fully blended in with makeup on top of them and everything is said and done, I can't tell a difference in how they feel on my skin. They're pretty much the same type of thing. Coverage is pretty much identical here. It's medium at first, but you can build it up to be fuller coverage if you would like it to. And I would say the other biggest difference between the two is that this one is slightly more glowy and radiant on the skin than this one right here. But again, when everything is said and done and I have my powder and bronzer and blush on top of it, I feel like they pretty much look the exact same. So if you're looking for a more affordable alternative to this one, or maybe you wanted something that was just slightly glowier, then I think that you will absolutely love this. And again, keep in mind, it's not like this product right here is making my skin look shiny at all. Like I said, I feel like I really can't tell a difference between the two. So I'm just trying to point out any kind of slight difference for those of you that are wondering, because obviously none of these are exactly the same, but for what it's worth, I would consider these to be dupes. What? This to be a dupe for this. That's how you say that. Okay, for concealer, I really wanted to find a dupe for the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. I will say I haven't had this in my collection in quite some time just because of the price point. I felt like I was going through this so quickly. It only has 0.22 ounces of product in it, and it retails for $30. So I was like, okay, I need to find something that's a little bit more affordable than that. So I kind of moved on from it, but I do have to say, having it back in my collection, I'm like, dang it, am I gonna start buying this again? Because it's absolutely beautiful. Yes, it is creamy like the name suggests, but in a very lightweight way. Super blendable. It's something that I would say has a natural radiant finish as well, which it's called a radiant concealer, of course, but again, it's not something that looks shiny or overly dewy, but it's not dry whatsoever. It's not going to cling to patches or settle into fine lines in a heavy way. It's just a perfect concealer. So I really wanted to find something similar, and the product that I think is a close enough match is also from L'Oreal. It is the Age Perfect Radiant Concealer, but this one retails for $9.99. I really feel like this has a comparable formula to NARS because it has that creaminess to it, but again, in a very lightweight way. It's blendable, it looks healthy and fresh under the eyes, also doesn't settle into lines in a major way. I do think that this has a slightly dewier finish to it, but once it's set with powder side by side with NARS, I feel like they're indistinguishable from one another. They really have the same finish at that point. The other slight difference here is that I do feel like this gives you more medium coverage than NARS at first, where this is a little bit fuller at first. So I do have to add a little bit more of this concealer in order to build it up to the same level of coverage as NARS, but at that point, again, I feel like they pretty much look the same. I'm really curious to hear you guys' thoughts on this one in particular because I feel like concealer can really vary from person to person depending on your skin type and the fine lines you have around your eyes. So let me know if you have already tried both of these, if you feel like they're truly dupes for you as well, or if they don't quite work the same as much. I want to know, but for me, it gets the job done, pretty much same type of deal. All right, next up we have setting powder, and the product that I found a dupe for is Tatcha's the Silk Powder. I know a lot of people love this, myself included, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know at this point because I've recommended it several times on my channel. It is just so beautiful. It's incredibly soft, it's very lightweight, it sets makeup perfectly to where it helps it to last all day, but it doesn't make your skin look dry. You don't look cakey at all with this, so it's not going to add any additional coverage. It really is just a nice, soft, kind of natural way to set everything in place. And what I love about this is that I feel like my oils can come through in a natural, fresh way, but not make me look super greasy throughout the day, because again, it's just giving me a little bit of that kind of hold that I need, helps to prevent me from looking incredibly oily, but then once my oils do kind of mesh with the powder, if that makes sense, I feel like my skin just looks so fresh and glowy every time. So it's gorgeous, but she's not affordable. This is $48, definitely very pricey for a powder. So the dupe that I found is $8, $40 less, and it's e.l.f.'s Halo Glow Setting Powder. I'm telling you guys, this formula is so comparable to Tatcha. I couldn't believe it the first time that I felt it. It's also very finely milled and soft and silky. Applied to the skin, it's something that just looks healthy and fresh, but sets makeup perfectly, so doesn't look drying on the skin either, doesn't cling to anything, doesn't make me look greasy throughout the day. Best of both worlds for a powder, just right in the middle. I will say at first, I was nervous about this because when you put that between your fingers and kind of, you know, like blend it out, you can see that there's this radiance to it, and I was nervous that it was going to look too intense on the skin and be really luminous like a highlighter. But for me personally, if I just go in with a little bit of product, it doesn't look that way at all. And there's actually tiny little reflex in the Tatcha powder as well. You just can't notice them as much, I feel like, when you rub it between your fingers. But on the face, again, if I'm not using too much product, I feel like they really look the same. So I would highly recommend trying out the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder. I feel like this could also be a potential dupe for the Hourglass, oh gosh, what's it called? The Veil Translucent Setting Powder, right? Is that the one that has the really glowy finish to it? If you use just a little bit more, I feel like you would get a comparable result to that Hourglass powder, which again, I know people are obsessed with. That is very pricey as well. So if you're looking for a dupe for this or that powder, try out e.l.f. All right, the bronzer I wanted to find a dupe for is Benefit's Hoola bronzer. So this has what I would consider to be a neutral undertone. It's not too warm, but it's also not super cool either. So right in between, which is what neutral is. This formula, I will say, is a little bit patchy at first, but it's something that's so easy for me to blend out, which is why I continue to use it and don't have a problem with it. So I'll just take a larger fluffy brush, blend out on top of it, and then I think it looks beautiful, and I really, really love the depth of color that it gives. It's just, I mean, there's a reason why this is a cult fan favorite. So what I found, which is very similar, is the e.l.f. contour palette. Let me open this. Okay, so this entire palette is $8, so you're getting the 3 different bronzer shades. This right here is actually a highlighter versus Benefit Hoola, which is $30 for just this one single pan of bronzer. So this shade right here is definitely not an exact dupe. It's lighter and warmer in undertone, I'll show you, than Benefit Hoola, but if you mix these 2 shades together, because this one is darker and definitely cooler than this, that's where I feel like you get such a comparable dupe, and they really look, again, indistinguishable from one another once they're actually blended out and on the skin. It's very impressive. I also feel like the application experience is really similar with this palette, where it's slightly patchy at first, but it's nothing that can't be worked with. It's very easy to blend into the skin, and it's super buildable as well. So you can start off with just a little bit of color, add more product, really make it look nice and deep and warm if you would like it to, or keep it on the more natural side. It's just a great, super, super affordable little palette right here. And you'll see later in the video, there's another use that I have for this. All right, let's jump over to blush next. So this blush right here is one of my all-time favorite blushes. A lot of you probably already know that because I did include it in a recent video where I shared my top 2 favorite makeup products in every single category. I'll list that below if you haven't seen that yet. But MAC Blush Baby is one of the blushes that made the cut. Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. So any blush that is pink but slightly rosy and slightly brown, I am immediately drawn to because I feel like they just look so flattering. They're not too intensely colored, but they just bring such a healthy, rosy flush to the cheeks that I am a sucker for. But on top of that, MAC blush formulas are some of the absolute best. They're soft, they're easy to work with, they're buildable, they're blendable, they don't look dry or patchy. They're just amazing, but they are $25. So I found an alternative that's definitely not exactly the same as far as the color goes, but on the cheeks, you guys, I mean, how many times am I gonna say this? I can't really tell a difference. So this blush is from Essence. It's called The Blush in the shade Be Fitting, and it's $2.99. So for $2.99, it's like we can call this a dupe, you know? I will say that this is not quite as perfectly seamless as MAC, which I'm like, for $2.99, I don't care. I'll spend 5 extra seconds blending to get a similar result, but the powder itself is a little bit softer and creamier, which is why I feel like it goes a little bit patchy at first, but seriously, I go back and forth like 3-4 times to blend, and it looks pretty much the exact same as MAC. So I would say they last similar amounts of time on the cheek. There's really, I mean, there's not much else to say here. $25, $2.99, I mean, you do the math. All right, the highlight that I was basically desperate to find a dupe for is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder. I have the shade Luminous Light, which is such a pretty light champagne shade, and I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about this because I feel like everyone knows exactly what this product is all about at this point. It's a soft, lightweight powder. It looks diffused and subtle and natural on the cheeks. It's basically what everybody dreams about for adding that just subtle little kiss of glow to the face without it looking glittery or too intensely highlighty, you know, but it's $48. So enter Essence Pure Nude. This is a highlighter that is $4.99, significantly cheaper, and they're definitely not identical shades, but they're so similar. I would say side by side. I need to look here and not in the viewfinder. Hourglass is just ever so slightly more yellow, whereas Essence, which is in the shade Be My Highlight, is just a little bit more of that beigey pink, but once they're applied to the cheek, I'm telling you, there's really not much of a difference as far as the actual tone. I do think that this Essence highlighter is a little bit more intense, and it's easier to build it up to be more of that kind of beaming highlight if you want it to be, but you don't have to. You can also get a really nice, subtle, diffused look with this. What I typically have to do is just blend it out with my finger, and then pretty much the exact same thing as Hourglass. Okay, for eyes, I only have one dupe to share, which is going to be what I used for my shadow winged liner. I'm already using drugstore products for my brows and mascara, so I'll just quickly tell you guys. I use the Arches and Halos Angled Brow Pencil for my brows, which is actually an exact dupe for the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Definer. I've shared that before, and mascara. Drugstore, I have the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara and the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Mascara. I use these together. I will list a video below where I show you guys exactly how I use them, the order, my very specific hacks, because it's a process. but it's worth it. So check that out after. So pretty much the only thing I've been using for eyeliner for several months at this point is my Tarte Juicy eyeshadow palette. This thing is so beautiful. I love it so much. And I will take any of the matte brown shadows in this, pick those up on a very skinny angled brush, apply my line, apply my wing, and I'm good to go. I love the way that that looks. But this is also $45, so that is where I reused this e.l.f. contour palette, which again is only $8, and took the deepest brown shade here to create that line. It's definitely not nearly as pigmented as using the eyeshadows in the Tarte palette, so it's something that I had to kind of sit with for a little bit and build up and pack on. And even in doing that, I can't get it quite as dark as I can with some of those Tarte eyeshadows, but for $8 and being able to have this kind of be a multi-purpose product, I think it's pretty dang close. All right, we have lipstick and lip gloss left to go, and then we are ready to wrap up this video. So for lipstick, I needed to try to find a dupe for Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. This is one of the most hyped lipsticks of all time for good reason. It is so gorgeous. Oh my gosh, just the most everyday wearable rosy brownie pink. My gosh, but it's $34, so definitely steep for a lipstick. And this is such a hard shade to find. I don't know what that thumbs up was, by the way. This is such a hard shade to find at the drugstore. I was about ready to completely give up because nothing even came close to it to where I could be like, oh, it's not a dupe, but it's comparable. Nothing was comparable until I found this lipstick from L'Oreal, which is their Color Riche lipstick in the shade 173 Nude Intense. So I will say it is not exactly the same, but on the lips, you guys, they look so similar. Oh, and what's the price point of this? $5.99 for this L'Oreal lipstick versus $34. So as you guys can see, it's just a little bit lighter, and I would say a little bit less brown than Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk, but on the lips, really, it translates so similarly, and it looks absolutely beautiful. And also a bonus to the L'Oreal lipstick is that it actually has a little bit more of a creamy finish on the lips, whereas Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk is matte. It's a very comfortable matte. It feels amazing. It's not drying whatsoever, but it also doesn't have any sheen to it. So if you're looking for a lipstick that has such a similar color, but is a fraction of the cost and does have that sheen, then you're gonna love L'Oreal. And the gloss that I have a dupe for is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb, specifically in the shade Diamond Milk. So this is one of my all-time favorite glosses. Very juicy, non-sticky, I love it. And this shade I really like because it's not going to alter the color of your lipstick. It just adds that gloss and a little bit of sheen because there's little reflex of glitter throughout it, but it doesn't look super glittery on the lips. So $19. The dupe that I found for it is the Maybelline Lifter Gloss in the shade 01 Pearl. It's the exact same type of shade where it's a little milky with a little glittery iridescent flecks, but again, it doesn't look like you have glittery gloss on. It just gives you this iridescence, you know? It brings some shine to the lips. The doe foots are even the exact same. I need to reapply both of these right now, so we'll just talk about these while I'm doing that. Oh my gosh. I would say, if anything, the Maybelline formula is not quite as pillowy as the Fenty formula, which is my new favorite description that makes no sense for lip gloss, but it's a little bit more lightweight, a little thinner than the Fenty formula, but once they're on, you can't tell a difference. They're basically the same thing. But that is my final dupe for this video. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this and had fun hanging out with me today. I would love to hear in the comments below which of these dupes you are the most excited to test out for yourself. As always, I will have all of the products that I mentioned listed in my description box below if you are interested in picking anything up. I'll make sure to have it not only in order of mention, but also paired side by side with its dupe. I like to keep things organized for you guys. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, click on that notification bell, and send my channel to a friend. Thank you again so much for doing all of those things. It really does help me out, so I appreciate you so much. If you'd like to see a part 2, a video just like this, let me know. I can definitely do that. Otherwise, stay tuned for my next video because that will be up in a few days. And until then, I hope you have a great few days.